Hello, everyone, and welcome to Feature Friday. Today, we have a special guest, Chad Filley with Staff Brokers. He is a graduate of the University of Florida, right?
Correct. Go
And
Gators.
Gators. Wow. Okay. And he has been in the industry as a PEO broker for 20 years. They help businesses save time, gain peace of mind, and focus. So, what a PEO broker is a broker for professional employer or employment organizations. So, Chad, welcome. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate the opportunity.
Of course. So can you tell us a little bit about you, who you are? We know you're a Gator. I won't hold that against you.
Thank you. Thank you. uh, yes, I am a Florida native. I grew up in Orlando. Um, Went to school at the University of Florida, obviously. Graduated there, went to Colorado, taught skiing and snowboarding for 6 months. Had to come back to reality after that, and went into the restaurant management for about 3 years and pretty much lived my life in the restaurant. And then I got out, and then I have been a little over 20 years in the PEO industry as a broker. Where basically we are educating clients on what options are out there for them when it comes to outsourcing payroll, work comp, benefits, human resources, retirement plan type stuff. Sometimes you can get all of that in one specific area or from one particular vendor. Sometimes it doesn't always work that way, but there's a lot of different vendors out there, and not everybody's looking for everything. So we're kind of helping educate them as to what's out there and available, and save them a ton of time and research in an area they're not terribly familiar with, to help find a solution that's ultimately going to solve the business related issues that they are looking to solve. I mean, it's our biggest thing. Time is what we're doing, is selling. That is, and I'm not, and that comes in so many different layers. We save time in the search process. We save time once they're a client. They have less things they have to do. They can go work on their business instead of everyday related, payroll, work comp, human resource type things. So they can focus on what it is that they want to do, whether that's marketing and growing their business or getting out of town because it's kids play travel baseball or something. But time is it's perishable. You can't get it back. And that's really the biggest thing that we are offering.
And, from my experience as a business owner, it is very time consuming shopping around for HR and payroll and, I don't know, workman's comp and other things and you don't know who's telling you what, right? Because everything kind of gets jumbled. So is that what you actually do? Do you help them kind of focus, like the introduction said?
Yeah, I mean, you can call around on 10 different companies based on what your needs are, and odds are, unfortunately, most of them are going to tell you that you're the right fit for them. And that's just not what we do. We do it on okay, and like I said, there's so many factors involved: number of employees, industry you're in. Are you looking for benefits? Do you just want payroll, work comp, file taxes, leave me alone? So we kind of go through all of that, and then, okay, this company's really good for 1 to 5 employees. This company's not going to talk to you until you have 10 employees. And we're really guiding them through that based on a myriad of variables that they don't even know are out there when they start that search. And then we help them, here's some options, here's some recommendations. This one's costs more, this one costs less, this one you're going to get better service. and we're just laying it out there to help them make an educated decision in an industry where they're not familiar.
So I love that, because instead of trying to fit them into what you're selling, you're actually finding the right solutions that fit their needs.
Correct. And you don't have to use 100% of what solution might be available. They may have a great benefits program, but they've got a payroll work comp issue. Well, we can solve that, and then we can incorporate and do deductions and whatever else so that they can keep the pieces of the puzzle that work. And then we, you know, help them with the ones that where they're having difficulties.
So you show them, you educate them, and then when they decide what they want, you actually help them facilitate that relationship, right? You help them.
We assist with the enrollment process and getting things going. I mean, with technology, it's becoming more and more, DocuSign this, DocuSign that. But like I said, it depends on the level of client. Um, if it's technology and high-end technology stuff, pretty much everybody, employees included, can do DocuSign. If it's a landscape company or a roofing company, the employees may not be computer savvy, and it may be easier to just, hey, fill out a paper application to get this part going. So we just match that to whatever the business needs
That is awesome.
when we get to that point.
Okay. So now let me ask you, what do you love about your business? Like, why are you in this particular business? And you've been in it for 20 years, so obviously you love it. Why?
Flexibility. I have the ability. I have two little girls, and I have the ability to go be there for them for field day, doctor's appointments. I'm sick, field trips, any and everything. Hey, I'm out of here. I need to go to school advisory council, whatever it is. I have the ability to be there for them for any and everything. That is the huge benefit of why I love what I do, and that kind of translates into we're helping businesses or business owners specifically save time so that they can go, whether say go be with their kids, go market their business, whatever it is that their why is, what they want to do. That's ultimately we're simplifying life on that both sides so they can go play golf on Friday, whatever their thing is.
So you're giving them freedom. You're giving back time.
Yep.
And that's a huge, I mean, I would love my job too if that's what, I was offering and having. Well, I actually do. Never mind.
You do some.
Oh no, that is awesome. So now, in those 20 years, I'm sure you have faced some obstacles in your business and you have found ways to overcome them. What is one or some of the obstacles that you face that, other business owners might be facing, and how have you overcome them so that maybe they can implement the same, resources or the same things that you have?
I mean, it's tough because it's not tough. I just don't know if it applies to all businesses. Our industry, like the banking industry, has gone through a big, the big guy buying the little guy. So that's something, where we've had vendors that we've had relationships with, and somebody, some big company within the industry comes in and scoops them up. And we've done pretty well with that. And that, as soon as that happens, we're reaching out, to try and establish how is it that we continue the relationship with them. Are there any changes in what type of clientele or business that particular vendor was looking for now that they've just been purchased? Are they looking for something different? But it's just keeping in contact with them, letting them know that as long you've purchased this company, as long as you continue to service them under this new entity name without any issues, we can be partners. We're not gonna, oh, you bought somebody that was one of our clients, so we're gonna take them and put them with somebody familiar. So that's one of the big things that's happened, and it's actually worked out very well because clients don't want to move, especially the bigger the client. If they're in a place and they're happy, assuming that most of them don't have any issue about the parent company or vendor being bought out, assuming their life doesn't get filled with chaos because of it.
Okay, so if I understand you correctly, it's changes in vendors has been one of the obstacles that you faced. And the way you get over that is by staying on top of the market, staying in the know as to who's buying whom and
Mm-hmm.
what changes are being made, and then heading that off by actually contacting the vendors and having a conversation so that your clients are not suffering from those changes.
Correct.
So it's all back end customer service without engaging the customer until or unless there's some kind of issue, or just to kind of let them know, hey, we've talked to them, everything should stay the same. We're on top of it and we're supporting you on the back end.
Yeah, correct. That's pretty much it. I mean, we watch it from the back end. We just had a pretty decent size merge that happened recently, and reached out to a couple of clients. Hey, this is happening. You should not have issues. If there are, you know where to find us, and we can navigate the customer service side from the back side of it versus their normal channels that they deal with.
That's awesome. So it's not, hey, here are your solutions, buy them, see ya, we're out. It's here are your solutions, and we continue to support you to make sure that they're still working for you, that if there are any changes, we can jump in and help you. So that is absolutely fantastic.
Correct.
Okay, so now that we've talked about some of the obstacles, what in your business is actually running smoothly, and how did you accomplish that?
It's kind of it's kind of similar to the things that we've overcome have been overcome by the strategy we've put in place with clients. Is we're very much on the front end side of things, of analyzing, presenting options to say, here's some choices, they're all good. um this one's cost less, here's some slight variables of difference between them. It's like, regardless of whichever one you pick, we will help you through the enrollment process to whatever level you want. But if and when anything ever goes wrong, please reach out to us. Please reach out to the referring agent. A lot of times we have an insurance agent that brings the business to us because they kind of know the work comp world or the benefits world, but they don't necessarily know the PEO world. So they refer them to us. So we just make sure that, they have customer service contacts at the vendor. And if they don't get an answer they like or understand why they got the answer, that they have at least two other points of contact to reach out to so that they can get a hold of us and we can help explain, maybe this is why you got that answer. Or if there's more that needs to be done, we're always available for them.
So it's really that customer support and being available and having other resources for them.
Mm-hmm.
How did you accomplish that? I mean, is it just, through research? Is it through
We've accomplished it just by knowing that it's a relationship business, and I think so much of everything is. I mean, we had a vendor in here today that's like, "Hey, have you ever done anything with us?" And we were just like, "Yeah," and it's not profitable. Never was. And they were like, "Yeah, you're right." And we figured that out about 4 years ago. So here's our new thing. Type of deal. But no, just making sure that they know they have multiple people to talk to, um, that they can always reach out to us. They can get a hold of us after hours, um, and that in human resources, typically no one answer is the end all. There's different ways to evaluate and look at things. So don't just take what the first person tells you necessarily as, hey, well, this is the final answer. Call us, get opinions. But we've done very well with that. If you can't get an answer fast enough, or you don't get an answer you like, call us. I might not tell you that the answer you didn't like is not correct. But we're here as just, helpful reinforcement to be like, this is normal, and as much as you don't like the answer you got, I highly recommend you follow the advice you've been given so far.
Sometimes we have to do that with our clients, right? I think being honest and giving an objective opinion when we don't have a stake in it, right? Because as a broker, you don't care if they use company A, B, or C,
Mm-hmm.
right? It makes it so much better so that they can make better educated, decisions.
It's one of the key benefits that I feel is there, um, from a time saving point of view of how do I deal with this situation at work. You have a set of unbiased eyes that doesn't know anybody personally, has no favoritism towards anything. The only thing is, what should we be doing? What precedence does that set? And is it going to keep us all out of court?
Nice.
Because from a human resource point of view, once you set precedent and then you don't follow precedent, you're asking for the attorneys to come calling.
Yeah, and as an attorney, I will tell everybody you do not want to hire attorneys unless absolutely necessary, especially for litigation.
Mhm.
Once you go to court, almost always everybody loses, right?
That is correct.
So, okay. So thank you so much for all of this information. Now as a business owner, as a business coach, I am always advising my clients to delegate things that are going to take, the work off of their plate and have someone else be able to do it so that they can leverage their own time.
Mhm.
Right? Because business owners are not in the business of HR or payroll. They're in the business of their own business.
Mhm.
And so it is great to have someone that they can turn to who's going to try to find the solutions that fit them instead of selling them whatever solution that they're affiliated with, right?
Right.
So from that perspective, and also just from the perspective of having your business, do you have any words of advice for business owners? Something that they can take away that's going to benefit them or make them start thinking about something?
I mean, say, be honest. Tell people if you're not a good fit. Um, but I think the root of that is you have to know exactly who it is that your target market is. Who is it that you want to go after? Who do you work well with? Who's profitable? Um, and then you can just tell them, hey, there's plenty of business out there for everybody. You know, go after what is great for you. Everybody wants to take the shotgun approach, especially new business, because they just need business. And yeah, at times it becomes that, but as you figure and learn who it is, who's exactly who you're looking for, you start taking that rifle approach, and you typically just end up closer to the bullseye with better prospects, and you're not just stuck doing, spinning your wheels, so to speak, or working harder to make less money because they're not the right type of fit for what it is you do. And that could go, that can be across the board in just about any industry.
That is fantastic advice. Work smarter, not harder, by finding your target audience.
Correct.
That is wonderful. And so if people need to, or actually, I think everybody needs to outsource their HR and their payroll and, or at least have someone doing it, how can they get in touch with you? And do you service, what geographic area do you service?
Service the entire United States.
Okay.
We have vendors that are all over the place. Do lots of options in the Southeast. But we have multiple national vendors. And like I said, and that's where we come in, from there's the big ones that you've heard of on TV. the ADPs, the Paychecks, the Insperities of the world. There's 497 other ones that you probably never heard of because they don't have that kind of marketing budget.
And so the audience can have access to all of those by just calling you.
Well, I'm not going to say all of them because I'm not trying to, make 400 vendors happy. But we've got a good handful, 15 or 20 that we work with on a regular basis that, they each have their place depending on the type of client, the size of the client, that they do well with that particular group. And that's kind of how we've designed it. We have some industry specific ones. We have benefits driven. We have size driven for who's good for the little 1 to 5 person type operation. But that's what my job is, to help navigate that part of it.
Wonderful. So how can people get in touch with you?
You can go to our website, staffbroker.net. There's requests for quote forms on there. That can be a starting point. They can call into the office, multiple numbers, the 866-365-0180 is the 800 number. That's probably the easiest one. And then we have our local 352-369-0668. Email address. You can do staff@staffbroker.net. That will go to the entire office. It'll probably revert back to me, but those are the main ways. We do have a Facebook page where I attempt to share some nonsense from time to time. And then I share that stuff on my personal page. That's probably the best ways.
Okay. And we will have all of that information for everybody so that you don't have to try to remember or rewatch the video. Chad, thank you so much for being here today. Thank you for telling us about your business. Thank you for giving our audience some advice and ways to overcome obstacles and what can help them. And more importantly, thank you for supporting businesses and allowing the owners the freedom to do the things that matter most to them, which is working on their business instead of in the business.
That's right.
Yeah.
Give yourself a business, not a job.
Yes, 100%. So have a wonderful day, and we will see you all next Friday.